Welcome to Snail Trail 4x4, another rig walk around. Today I'm with Blake from Blake's Garage, and we're going to be talking about his 1965 International Scout 80.
Alright, so I'm going to show you guys what's under the hood here of this International, and it's not an International.
What are we doing? Is there a hook up there?
Yeah.
What? Sorry.
Okay, so Jim obviously just got excited by the hook, so we got to show you that, I guess, first, because it's intriguing.
Badass.
So let's show you this real quick, and then we're going to jump onto the engine. You want to pop on that? So right here, there's actually a hood pin, and that's because this particular truck has a foldable windshield. So when you fold the windshield down, it has something to pin the windshield to, but it also works great to hold the hood up. What we have here is, like I said, not an International motor. This is a Chevy 350. Don't know if you guys have ever heard of a Chevy 350. It's a really rare engine, so yeah, keep an eye out in the junkyard for those. No, just kidding. But yeah, so it's a 350 Chevy. It has 4-bolt mains. It's a 1970s truck block. It has a Edelbrock intake, like a Performer intake, a low-rise intake manifold that, you know, helps out with a little bit of extra power. Has a Holley Truck Avenger. That's a 650 CFM Truck Avenger. Has the really cheap, you know, what is it? The O'Reilly Special, the $20 air filter. The reason for that is I can't fit a full-size air filter on this just because of how high the engine is sitting. However, as you guys know, that for crossings of, you know, heavy water and stuff like that, it's obviously good to have it nice and high so we're not sucking any water in, and it really is at the highest point of the engine, so that is kind of a benefit. For the valve train, it has the Moroso rocker covers, and underneath that, it's actually got some fancy bits. So it has Harlan Sharp rocker rollers, and it has Proform stud girdles. So the valve train on this thing is actually pretty badass. Has a 8-sump deep sump oil pan by Moroso as well. It's on some block hugger shorty headers. I have a newer alternator, pretty much stock, you know, a stock fuel pump. And then I have this Northern radiator. So this is just a Northern radiator, pretty good little aluminum radiator with a Mr. Gasket thermostat for the radiator cap, which is actually really nice. If you come over here, Jim, you can get a quick reading of actual temperatures. If you guys have ever seen this, it's just kind of cool. It's just an easy check to make sure your gauge in your car is or is not working. As you can see, mine is not working, as this broke off one time when I was changing an intake manifold gasket. And you know, like all those rigs out there, there's probably something that you haven't gotten around to fixing, and that's one of those items, and I do need to fix it. It has a Chevy HEI distributor. This thing used to have a Mallory distributor, but I pressure washed it one time and that thing went out on me, so I just went with the nice HEI distributor there. And we go up front, we have the Optima battery, which, as you guys know, is a must for trail rigs. You pretty much got to have those Optimas if you don't want to get stranded somewhere. And yeah, I mean, that pretty much covers it. It has 40 series Flowmasters, so it sounds pretty dang good. It's pretty dang loud. They kind of come out of the sides, and I want to change that up in the future. Just do a single exit out the rear. So powering the rest of the wheels on the car, after that 350 Chevy engine, we have a SM420 transmission, which you guys know that has a pretty dang low granny first. I think it's something like 7.06 to 1 or something like that. Yeah. It's one of the lowest commercially made transmissions, as far as I know. If there's something else out there, drop it down below, but that's a pretty dang low granny first. So we have that, and then outputting out of that is a Novak adapter. After that Novak adapter, we have a Dana 18 transfer case. So that is a twin stick transfer case, which is kind of nice, you know, because you can disengage and engage the front wheels, the front wheel drive of the 4-wheel drive, if you will. So that's kind of a cool thing, is you can lock in the hubs, make it go 2-wheel drive, lock that back in, make it go 4-wheel drive. This is my second transfer case. I should have there's a little pill in there that you can actually take out to where you can make it go into 2 low and 4, you know, 4 high and 2 low.
Right.
This bumper case actually still has it in. Unfortunately, I should have pulled it out.
Right. So if you pull it out, what happens?
So if you pull it out, then you can do two-wheel low. So
Right.
two-wheel drive low. Right now, I can only go into low if I engage. I'm pretty sure it's like if I put it into neutral and engage the front wheel drive.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those little hacks. If you guys have a Dana 18 out there that you can do. I was slapping this one in and didn't realize it had it until I had it all in the car. So.
That's a cool feature when you want to get into that two-wheel drive low, and you can just separate those and just it slides in. It's really well.
Because if you need to pitch it sideways or whatever, or get sharper turns on the trail or something, that four-wheel drive is really going to limit you.
Yeah, or just having more control when you need it. You know, and being able to just go to that low gear, even if you're on a small trail, just a fire road or something, you want to do something a little bit more technical to go to that low gear is nice.
Yeah, for the two-wheel drive for sure. It has a Dana 44 in the rear with 427 gears and a Detroit locker. I really love the locker. Before I think it was was it like a True Track or something like that?
So the worm locker,
Yeah, it had a helicoil, so that's a helicoily cut gear, so it has like a gear reduction. But that thing blew up in my friend's driveway, if you can believe it or not. It actually snapped the ring gear off at the best spot in your friend's driveway going up a rounded curb. I guess you can't really ask for a better spot to break a diff, just being that obviously you got to get out of that area. But I replaced it with the Detroit locker and haven't looked back. I love it. Sometimes, on the way over here, it gets a nice click and you sound like you broke something, but it drives both wheels.
Yeah.
It'll do
engaged
good donuts.
or disengaged. Yeah. Those are always fun. You take a little corner, you give it a little gas, and it lock. Yeah. You actually get it to engage, and then you're all, whoop, you get that little bounce.
Exactly.
That would scare so many people when I had that in my truck. Yeah. It's fun though.
It's fairly close to a welded, but at low speeds it'll unlock. So it's pretty cool.
Especially on the pavement, because you're getting all that grip right then. So.
Yeah. So then in the front, I have a Dana 27. So I would say that's like pretty much the weak point of the car. I had Dana 44s, some spooled up ones that I was gonna do a spring over conversion. Basically never got around to doing it. Ended up selling the axles. But yeah, it has a power locker or power track. Power trek. It's a limited slip, clutch pack style, Dana 27 in the front. So, nice. It's nice. It does have that limited slip and the locker in the rear. So when it needs to, it'll get you out of some spots, which is good.
Or get you into somewhere you shouldn't be.
Exactly. These are just basically, your nice little Steelies. These are some 15s. I think they're 15x8s. I'm not quite sure of what the offset is. I'd have to take the wheel off, but all I know is it fits, basically. We're on some Toyo Open Country MTs. These are 31x10.5s. I just picked these up, and I really like the tires. We were ripping around out here, and the ground is, semi-moist right now, and it definitely gets quite a bit of bite.
Breaker 19 for a radio check.
Moving on to the interior, it's one of the things that I tried to take some time with. I know as most people, build off-road rigs, we're all focused on, obviously, suspension, tires, lockers, engine, all that stuff. The stuff that really makes you get down the trail, right? But what's always overlooked? The interior. So that was actually one of the things I started on first, because I knew most of us eat up all our budget on all that other stuff, and then our interiors always look like crap. So I started out stripping this car all to bare metal, and to my surprise, this thing had like no rust in it, which is amazing. 1965, it's been a California car, it is really good. What I ended up doing, because the car is so loud and it's just basically a big tin can, and the exhaust is fairly noisy, plus you have the road noise, I went ahead and made some new floorboards. So I took those out of 16 gauge sheet metal, put them on a bead roller, and added some reinforcement, some structural beads into those things, and made them look really nice. It wasn't for any rotted out floorboards or anything like that. It was literally just so I could put more sound deadening in between the floor. What that did is really made this thing a lot more solid. I mean, I put it all in the doors. I put it underneath 2 layers in the floor, and then after that, I did the spray-in truck bed liner. So I had that professionally done and did it all the way up to the doors, and it just looks really, really good. After that, I went on to purchasing the Corbeau seats. These are suspension seats. These are Baja, I think they're just the Baja Regulars. It's either Baja Regulars or Baja SS. I kind of forget because it's been a while. But these are the suspension seats in here. I have 2 of those in the front, and then in the rear of the car, I have a Baja suspension seat in the back as well. So overall, the interior looks really nice. I also added some lights in the front. I call those the no spider bite Scout lights because this thing sits for quite some time, and sometimes I'll get some spiders in it. You know, and just if it's dark out, you don't know what the hell's in there. It's kind of nice to just be able to flip something on and be able to see inside your truck instead of having a dark truck. So I did that, you know, painted up the shift knobs, got that all cleaned up, added a little GT Grant steering wheel, one of those cheap little ones you've seen at O'Reilly's since you've been 6 years old and always thought they were cool looking. So I added that with their little adapter, which is super inexpensive, and it made the car just look, you know, way more complete. I had a horrible looking steering wheel on this thing for years, and just put that, and it just kind of tied the interior together. This does have a removable top, which is really cool. The windshield also folds down, like I mentioned before, has that little pin on the front so that you can keep it in place, and these little knobs right here just kind of unscrew, which is really neat. You pop the top off. I have a bikini top for this thing, which is nice. I actually bought it for a CJ5, which worked out perfect because Jeep parts are ridiculously cheap, as you guys know. You know, just because everybody freaking has a Jeep, and if you want to be different, you buy a Toyota or you buy a Scout if you want to be cool, right? Or, you know, a Bronco or something like that. But Jeeps are cool too, guys. Just kidding.
We're on the back of the vehicle here. It's got some cool features on the gate and the door, so I thought Blake would like to show those off.
Yeah, so because this is a 1965, you know, going back that, well, back in those years, you had some pretty basic stuff. On the Scout 80s, I think it's just on the Scout 80s. I'm not sure if some 80s have the little, there were some that had a latch, but this one actually has the old school hook and cable, which is awesome. Like I also have a 1937 Ford truck. Maybe it's not 4-wheel drive. I don't know if that counts, but
I don't know. It's a cool rig.
Comment down below if you guys want to maybe see a walk
one.
around of that truck. I don't know, but it does have this same setup. So we just take those off, and then you can open up this. So this has a locking camper shell, which is great. Cool feature of this is it actually stays. This is mechanical. This is nothing hydraulic. It actually is like just geared and engineered proper. It also has a thing where you can click it into place. So if you need to leave it open and drive around with your car like that, it'll let you do that. So that is pretty cool. As far as the truck bed goes, you know, it just pulls down. You grab the cables, put them right there.
Super
boom.
easy.
Super easy, super basic. Really cool, functional. There's not a lot of stuff to break there, so it's kind of neat. Something to mention that I didn't mention before is underneath the car, it does have a really nice flat belly, you know, which is a real big benefit. If you look at a K5 Blazer, for example, you'll see the transfer case hanging down like crazy. This car is really nice and flat, so I haven't built a skid plate. It does have a factory or, you know, a skid plate that someone made, but it's nice and flat, so you can lay this thing on its belly and you're not going to rip anything off, which is always nice on the trails for if you hang up on a rock or something like that. Pretty much I need rock sliders on this thing. I'm using the exhaust currently as a rock slider, which isn't really a good idea, but like I said, I want to redo it.
Well, I want to say a big thanks to Blake from Blake's Garage. I'll put a link to his channel down below. Blake, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Blake's Garage, or you can find me on YouTube. I do YouTube videos as well. Post about 2 to 3 videos a week. A lot of my stuff is race car stuff, but you know, every once in a while I'll do something on the Scout, which is always fun. So yeah,
it is. It was a lot of fun being out here. That Scout is rad. It's so much fun. It's just fun to be around town in that thing. It's amazing. Plus it romps pretty good. We got on it a few times in town. It scoots. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah. So hammer down on that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Make a comment below, and Blake and I will be watching these comments come in, and we'll answer any questions if you have anything you want to know anything else about the Scout. And don't forget, keep crawling.